afternoon. I'm here live at Cyclone Broadcasting Station with Bishop Thomas John Paprocki. As you all know, there has been a newly elected pope, the first non-European pope in over a millennium. Bishop Paprocki is going to give us some information and some personal opinion about the newly elected pope. Bishop, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome, Dylan. It's good to be with you here at SHG.
So, Bishop, how are you staying updated with the conclave? Where were you? What was going on? What was going through your mind?
Well, actually, yesterday when the news was announced, I was at Carlinville, and we were there for a couple of days with the priests of our diocese having some study days. We try to keep updated with some ongoing continuing education. And after the meeting finished, we had lunch, and then I had a meeting of our personnel board where we look at upcoming assignments, transfers of priests to different parishes. And one of the priests at the meeting was kind of following things along on his iPad. And, sort of in the middle of the meeting, he said all of a sudden, "Hey, there's white smoke," So we knew that something was happening, and then he was kind of like watching that while we continued our meeting. And then when he saw that the band came out and the soldiers and all that and the Swiss Guard, and they were getting ready in St. Peter's Square, so we knew something was happening. So we all took a break and went to big screen TV, and we watched it all as it unfolded.
So all unfolded started on the iPad, moved to the TV.
Yeah, I said we had our personnel board meeting, and we had to break to get the outcome of the really big personnel board meeting in Rome.
So did the outcome yesterday shock you at all? I mean, it was a pretty speedy election, considering it was so fast, and he's the first non-European pope in over a millennium.
It surprised me that it went so quickly. I thought it would take a little bit longer. What I didn't know, and what is coming out now, apparently he was the runner-up last time around in 2005. So going into the conclave, I guess a lot of the cardinals were already thinking about him since he was so strong a candidate last time. I was not really surprised that we have a pope from South America, and I had been saying before the election that I thought the pope could come from anywhere. And I had kind of a feeling it would come from somewhere in the third world, either from Africa or South America or Asia. And so the fact that we have a pope from South America, I think, is pretty significant because it's the first time we have somebody from the American continent, and I think that would be really a great moment for the church.
Yeah, so speaking from the Americas, what do you think this election is going to mean for the people here in America, actually? I mean, it's kind of a big deal to have the Pope come from the Americas. I mean, it's the first time this has ever happened. So what kind of effect do you think this will have on the people?
Well, Latin America is the largest concentration of Catholics in the world, so 1.2 billion Catholics, and I think it's about a third of them, or 39% or so, are actually in that area. So it's a real boost to them. And I think helped to strengthen their faith. Even here in North America, we have a lot of immigrants that have come to North America, not only on the southwest coast, California, New Mexico, Arizona. We have a lot of Hispanics in Florida, from Cuba, but even up north. Here in our diocese in Springfield, we have a Spanish Mass at Sacred Heart Church, St. Catherine Drexel Parish, and we have a Spanish Mass in Beardstown and in Decatur and in Effingham. So, we have a number of Hispanics here, and I think that's going to be really important for them, as well as for non-Hispanics, because it says that, the Pope really is someone from our part of the world now, and I think it'll be very encouraging for our Catholics everywhere.
Yeah. So, in your opinion, what are the most important tasks that the newly elected Pope is going to have to deal with in his very near future? I mean, there's obviously a lot of problems going on in our world, but more so towards the Catholic Church. There's a lot of things he's going to have to deal with. What do you think are some of the biggest things that he's going to have to come at head on?
Well, he's got a lot on his plate, I think, coming up. He's got things internally in the church that we've been hearing about, dealing with some of the sex abuse scandals in the church, dealing with some of the issues of reorganizing what they call the Roman Curia, which is like the bureaucracy of the church in Rome, that needs some attention. And then there are a lot of issues outside of the church. So the loss of numbers of people going to church in Europe, for example, and somewhat less so, but still a challenge in North America. And then parts of the world where the church is growing and expanding. It's growing rapidly in Africa and in South America, and so to be able to support that and keep it going. And then challenges of places in the world where the church really has not had much success. So, for example, in India, in China, Japan, and that's something I think that as a Jesuit, the Jesuit order has long had a great missionary outreach. Many of the churches here in North America even were started by Jesuit priests who came here as missionaries. And one of the great Jesuit saints was St. Francis Xavier, who went to China, Japan, and India. And so in some ways, I think that may be a focus of his too, to try to bring the gospel to those countries.
So, as I said earlier, the newly elected Pope is from the Americas, and you mentioned that numbers have been decreasing in Europe and European side of the world. Do you think that will continue to decrease because of the re-election, because the Pope isn't from Europe? I mean, do you think that could have an effect on those people, or do you think...
No, I don't think they'll take that in a negative sense. His ancestry is actually Italian, so his parents were born in Italy. So they might feel a little bit of a connection there, the fact that he's Italian. We would say, like Italian-American, he's Italian-Argentinian. Plus the fact that I think what's really more important in this day and age, more than nationality, is the witness to the gospel that somebody gives. And it's, I think very significant he took the name Francis, and what he has said since then in terms of why he chose that name, identifying with Francis of Assisi, one of the most popular saints ever. So when Francis of Assisi, back in the 13th century, just started out, he attracted, thousands of people, men and women, who were entering the Franciscan orders, and it's still going, like, 800 years later, and here we are, people still admiring Francis. Why? Because he had such a radical commitment to the gospel, to poverty, to loving the poor, and I think if Pope Francis can give that same kind of message, I think that will be attractive for people, no matter where they are or what their nationality will be.
All right, well, there you have it. Thank you for joining us today, Bishop.
You're welcome. God bless you.
You too.